Welcome back. Let's now look at another parameter which is important in the SEO, search engine optimization, which is called as HTTPS. So this actually in the last few years it is becoming more prominent to have a site enabled for HTTPS compared to HTTP. In fact, it is a year before, around 2015 or 2016 is what they started pushing for HTTPS, and then Google also said like they are going to when you use the Google Chrome, they are going to warn you saying that this is a secure site, this is a not secure site. So they if you are a site owner, they came out with such a notification saying that Google will show security warning on HTTP if your site is something like HTTP, then it will show that warning. You will see that when you are in the site. One of the most important, more critical one is encryption of the messages. Particularly if you have a confidential information on the internet, it could be tapped. Particularly the user ID or the password that needs to be encrypted. So earlier, I mean, maybe about a decade or more back, even the database, they used to store password as such without encrypting. Encrypting meaning like if you have a password, say ABCD, it should not be saved as ABCD. It should have some logic, some random logic, and it should say XXXX111, and that should correspond to ABCD. So encryption is one of the critical one as far as HTTP is concerned. So if you look at the difference, HTTP, the website should begin with HTTPS, whereas it will begin with HTTP. And then it uses port 80 for communication. HTTPS uses 14443. As I said, HTTP is considered unsecure. HTTPS is more secure, particularly if you're using user ID, password, or something like PIN you want to use, or credit cards you're using online. It is always advisable to look for HTTPS site, and if it is HTTP, don't use it. You're not supposed to use it. HTTPS works, these are a little bit technical, works on application layer. HTTPS, it's all related to the network layerings. So this relates to transport layer. And this is important. Encryption, because now hacking has become so very common these days on the net. That is where the website are supposed to have HTTPS, particularly the last 5 to 10 years. It is very, very common to use credit cards on the internet site. So encryption is absent in HTTP, whereas it is present in HTTPS site. And SSL needs a certificate, SSL, whereas HTTP does not. So naturally it is unsecure and this is secure. The point to note here is your website naturally, when a search engine looks for a website with just HTTP, then it will, if there is another site which is on HTTPS, when you are searching for some detail, naturally HTTPS will have listed above than HTTP, even though you might not use credit card in your website. But if your website is HTTPS, naturally that particular website will in the search result, that will have higher priority or will be listed ahead of HTTPS. So it is always recommended to have HTTPS, even though you might not be using for any financial transaction. And on top of it, Google will have you would have seen a lock symbol on the browser when you use HTTPS site, whereas in HTTP it will say not secure site. So we will see that. So I mean, for the person who is browsing, HTTPS will give more confidence when compared to HTTP, even though he might not be using that for any of the financial transactions. Actually, if you want to make your one's website into HTTPS, there's a custom version, but recently, I mean, there are free versions too. So we will look at this. There is a HTTPS you got to I'll show that you got to get into this, and you can, if you have a technical skills, you can enable this one, HTTPS, for your website. You can enable it, and then naturally the website becomes HTTPS. Of course, with this it is free. Otherwise, most of the hosting service provider, or for that matter your domain registrar, might provide a HTTPS enabling provisioning, but then that is, they cost it for that. And this one I found out it is free of cost. In fact, I have enabled for my own site. I will show that to you in the subsequent presentation. Thank you. Stay tuned. So this is I have my own site, which is this one is HTTPS. So since it is HTTPS, you have a lock symbol over here. So when you click on that, it says connections is secure, your information, password, credit card is private when sent on this site, certificate is valid. So I have enabled HTTPS. This is one, and if you look at this is a kind of a development site, my own development site. So if you look at here, one is that you can enable HTTPS only if you have a registered domain. If you don't have a domain registered, you cannot enable HTTPS. So that's where this is just my development site. So I have not enabled, and it will show. So any of the HTTP sites which is not HTTPS will have this not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on this site. So that's what Google came out with, this kind of messaging the last few years, that is to be precise from 2017 onwards. Before that they didn't have this structure, enable secure and non-secure, having a lock in case of HTTPS site, and in case of HTTP it is not secured. And as I said, during the search, HTTPS site will have a higher priority when the results are shown. So you can actually enable it much more easily if you're technically skilled. Yes, you can do this with certbot. So if you look at my software, it is running on Apache and then on CentOS RHEL system. So naturally it will show you how to perform the install steps. All this, or if you need to get into the shell prompt of your the Linux machine, and then execute these commands so that the certificates would be enabled. And once your certificates are enabled, yes, you need to make appropriate provisioning in your website also to ensure that it recognizes HTTP. So this is out of preview of this course of SEO. Unless you want to build a website on your own, then you need to take actually a different course to build a website on your own. Otherwise, the point I'm trying to convey is that HTTPS, or the security of the website, has a paramount importance these days, and that is in the last few years, particularly with all kinds of hacking around the net happening. You need to have your website enabled for HTTPS. Thank you. Now let us look at two critical files which help you in the optimization of the website for the search engine. Or one is that Robots.txt and Sitemap XML. These two files are critical for your website. That is, once your development is completed, the website is ready to go, at that time you need to ensure that the Robot.txt and Sitemap.xml, particularly Sitemap.xml, is used by the search engine, and some of the website might have Sitemap.html for the users if they want to know, because if there are internally, if it is linked with hundreds or thousands of different pages, then sitemap.html makes sense, because the user will not know under where to search a particular information. So in that case, the sitemap.html would be useful for the user. And similarly, for the search engines, if they are going to have these many pages, even otherwise, even if it's a site is a simple site, you can make sitemap.html, and then you can present it to the Google search console, saying that, hey, I have a new site. The Google search engine needs to search my site and make necessary provision for indexing my site. So these two sites are important. One is that you can manually create them, or otherwise there is a tool, online tool, which is makes our task simple. Is XML sitemap generator.r. It does create robot.txt, sitemap.xml, sitemap.html. So you need to upload it accordingly, so that the search engine can look for the files and index your website. So from a definition perspective, why the robot.txt file is important? See, is also known as robot exclusion protocol, or standard and a text file that tells the web robot or the spider, we might call it sometimes the web spider program, which crawls into the website, to which is to be excluded. Maybe if you can tell the robot the pages they should not crawl. If you have some kind of a sensitive information, most of the times you have some kind of a login information. It's not necessary to crawl into that website, or some sensitive information you don't want to crawl it. Then you can make exclusions. You can make exclusions and allow only whichever are the pages you want to allow for crawling. You can have that. Let's say a search engine is about to visit. Before it visits the target page, it will check for the robots.txt for instructions. So if you have that, you're not wasting the spider or the search engine, the crawling engine, to leave out the pages from crawling and concentrate only on which you wish to crawl. This is particularly important, if you have hundreds and thousands of pages. Yes, may ensure that robot.txt is there. Even otherwise, it's always advisable to have a robot.txt. If you have that, yes, search engines will give you appropriate priority when compared to a website which doesn't have robot.txt. So this is for the exclusion part. As I said, if you have a confidential site, you're not bothered about the search engine discovering your page, then in your robot.txt you just have this command, disallow, blocking all the crawlers from the content. So the only difference, if you see, is that this one, for blocking all the web crawlers from the content and allowing all crawlers to access all of the content. There is nothing to disallow. Everything is allowed in the second case. The first case, all the web pages are disallowed. The other one is the sitemaps. Sitemap.xml, in simple term, XML sitemap is a list of your website URLs that acts as a roadmap to tell search engine the content available, how to reach it. So you might have some kind of a tree structure of your website, maybe the navigation. So that is for the website, maybe in the HTML format. In the XML format, this is for my own website. This is my sitemap, and I need to, as I said, you need to, normally the search engine will on its own will index all the web pages, but that can take time. So instead of waiting for the search engine to discover, that may take a month or so, whatever, depending upon the frequency they have designed it. So instead of that, you can enforce that Google, you can get into the Google Search Console and present the sitemap XML for your website. Then yes, it will be indexed quickly. So that is what is the note is all about. To quickly ensure that a site is to be indexed, one can use Google Search Console and submit the sitemap.xml to index quickly. So these two files, one is the robot.txt and the sitemap.xml are the critical ones. And particularly if you want to have your page ranked higher, you need to ensure that these two are available for your website, and it should be in the root folder of your website in the Linux box. I'll show you in the subsequent presentation. Thank you. Stay tuned. This is the website I was presenting in the earlier presentation, that you can use this site to create the robot.txt and the sitemap.xml or HTML. Either you can do it on your own. Yeah, if you feel that if you're not comfortable, you can generate it online. All you need to do is provide this on the XML site generator with the HTTP address, and then it will create. You can download it and then you can then place it in the website as appropriate. So it's possible that way, or you can have a plugin. For example, you can have a plugin if you are having a WordPress site. You can even have a plugin which will automatically create, suppose that will be beneficial, particularly when you're going to frequently add pages. Then the sitemap might change. In that case, the WordPress plugin will be beneficial. You can have a plugin so that it generates the sitemap.xml from time to time. So either ways you can do it, online generator, one-time generator, or you can have the plugin enable. If you're using the WordPress website, then you can have the plugin installed. So now, just for it has to be in that particular, I'm using WordPress, so in over Apache, and that is where it needs to be under var whtml. And if you look at, you have whatever was generated, you have the robot.txt and sitemap.xml. So these needs to be placed over here in the root folder where you have the WordPress installed, in case if you're using the WordPress site, or whichever is the root folder in the web server you need to place, so that the crawling engine will recognize that website and looks for robot.txt or the sitemap.xml, so towards the enabling it towards the faster crawling and indexing the website. So these are the two important. Whenever you have a website, ensure that you have a robot.txt and sitemap.xml. The search engines will look for these two files, and thereby your website will be indexed quickly, and if there are any errors, that will be reported as well. That is where you need to use the Google Search Console. You need to use that, and you got to present the sitemap.xml. So that's about the robot.txt and sitemap.xml. Thank you.